And that's a simple question. Joe can answer that.
Yep.
Look into it.
Those are the big questions I had. The rest of it is just details. Thanks for zooming in.
Thank you, Brenda.
No problem.
Okay. We now have public comments. This should be interesting.
Sean McKillop, 84 Main Street. Chris, I have a question if you wouldn't mind answering and clarifying, and Joe's as well. Can you sum up, you talked about the health insurance payrolls being moved out of departments. I've seemed to remember that was recent. Now you're saying they're back in. Can you
Well, what I meant was, originally, they tried to take it so the departments would have their own breakdown in each department. That was the intent, but it was not easily done. So now administration, Brenda and the finance and the town manager put all those numbers into our budgets as a department head, which I'm not anymore, but when I was, we never had control of we didn't even know those numbers until the budget actually came out. In other words, your salaries, your benefit packages, Social Security, Medicare, all that stuff. And that's the way
It
it's.
would be all but benefits and insurance, right? You know
Yeah.
what the salary, like,
Yeah,
as you would know if you had a system what they
right,
made.
right.
It would be the other
Absolutely.
stuff, yeah.
That stuff is what they take care of. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, kind of. Because I feel like I remember the conversation because that was recent, right? It was,
Yeah.
it was a recent move to get it out, and I thought it was.
It wasn't.
But it
Now it's
never-
back under administration. So it's all encompassing because the breakout, it makes it difficult to.
Right, so it is out, it is still out. So the Department of Code Enforcement doesn't have
They do not have.
salaries in there, it goes under admin.
So sorry, no, they have salaries, but the benefits are
I'm sorry,
not.
but
Yes,
benefits and
benefits all encompassing in admin now.
Right, so they
it's-
could now do a budget themselves, the department head.
It's easier to pull that and see what you're spending collectively for those benefits. Yes.
Yeah, a lot of that had to do with the billing. So when the bills come, trying to separate out,
Yeah.
the bill would never come like by department. It would come by like person. So you'd have to sit there and pluck each individual employee out, break down each expense for each employee, and then grind it all back together again by department. So it wasn't something that was an easy thing to do. But if someone ever needed the information at some point for a particular reason, I mean, I could still gather it, but it just, to do it on a regular basis, it's a lot of extra work based on the way the insurance bills come in.
Does the new program get rid of that?
If we went with the new software, as far as the
Just
reconciling, like the accounts.
More of a monthly breakdown or spreadsheet of what each department is and where they're at, plus or minus their budget that they put forward.
As long as you're running through your accounts payable and cash receipting that way and not adjusting, it is easier to get those balances. Yep. So you balance that on the general ledger. Once you close out that month, you can get that report right away.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Grace?
Grace Levitt, Levitt Road. These are questions, but probably don't have answers yet, so I guess they're reminders. I just wanted to ask at what point there might be a design committee for Jordan Small School formed and using the recommendations from the visioning committee, what the status is of that work. A previous speaker during the special town meeting talked about having lots of volunteers getting involved, and so hopefully that is going to be up and coming in the next month or two. I'm wondering what the status of the Public Works Committee is. I did see that they had one meeting so far, and if there's any update on that. Another committee that's going to be needed is the Comprehensive Plan Implementation Committee. I'm happy to say that that's going to be hopefully formed soon, and again, that's a lot of work ongoing. I would be remiss if I didn't mention ongoing concerns about traffic safety. There had been, at one point, I thought, a suggestion, I don't know if it was from a select board person or somebody at the podium, I don't think it was myself, to have some sort of a subcommittee that's looking at all sorts of traffic safety issues in the town. It's good to see the North Raymond Road intersection with Ledge Hill vastly improved. I'm still a little hesitant to be sure everybody's going to stop at those stop signs, but it certainly is much better. And I did hear a concern from a neighbor about the Valley Road, Raymond Hill stop sign. It's on the stop signs on Valley Road, that people just go right through it. So I just wanted to bring that concern to whomever might take a look at that. They're not actually stopping. Yes, you can kind of see there's no car coming one way or the other, but there was some sort of a motorbike. It wasn't a motorcycle. It was something that you might not expect to see. And I think about kids on bicycles sometimes. There aren't too many, but again, people should be stopping at stop signs. That's what they're there for. So hopefully that could be looked at as well. And I think that is my list. So committees, and traffic safety. I have not seen, by the way, those signs that I thought were going to be around during the summer that would show what your speed was and give that feedback. I just haven't seen where they were placed anywhere. So hopefully they're out there and I've just missed them. But again, the speeding and it just continues. And there have been a number of articles, again, in the Portland Press Herald recently about concerns about traffic safety. Thank you.
Thank you. Good point. Frank?
That North Raymond one freaked out my wife. Because I stopped and went, and somebody was coming, and she was like, ah! I'm like, no, there's a stop sign there now. She's like, oh, okay.
Mike McDermott, Dermott Road, Raymond. Thankfully, the comprehensive plan passed. Got a question. In the comprehensive plan, it calls for making this area a village area, which means that in time we may need land here to expand recreation and whatever. We are going to get the school, and I know there's a piece of property right next to the school where there's a fallen down house and a fallen down barn. It's about the only contiguous piece of property I think that would be available. I think the town ought to take a look at that, because buying other property up in this area for those kinds of programs may be pretty restricted. So I'm just, saying somebody ought to take a look at that and see if something like that is available, and have the town think about adding that to the piece of land that we'll get when we get the Jordan Small School.
Thank you, Frank. Anyone else? All right, seeing no one, we'll close public and we'll turn it over to select board comments. Kayla?
Grace, I think you read my notes, because I have here, we don't want to lose sight of the two committees that we should be establishing, which is the Jordan Small Middle School repurposing committee. I think you called it design, but yeah, hey, we're on the same page. And then the comprehensive plan implementation committee, now that we have a comprehensive plan. And then I would like to remind everyone that school starts August 27th. Please watch out for the flashing lights and stop for school buses.
Anyone else?
Gotcha. Good.
People know how I feel, so I'm done. Other than that, I'll entertain a motion. Oh, no. We have to go into executive session. And then,
We got
I'm sorry.
I got
I'm
some
sorry,
important reports. One of the big items is we heard what everyone's been saying about communication, website. We found a software that has agenda management, so you'll see our meeting minutes look a little bit different. Melanie, our town clerk, has implemented the agenda management software that will keep track of all these agendas and e-packets, and we'll be able to distribute to committee members to look at live. So if there's any changes, you can see the live update instead of getting to a Word document, making the change, emailing it, waiting for email response, get an email response, make the change, email back out. This does it all kind of live, which will streamline a lot of the agenda management and committee management that we're seeing. So I think that's a big component to the software. Also, with use with Kevin, our IT, helping us out. This has a news portion, so you can have news articles right on the front of the website, nice, cleanly stated. So you have different news articles they can look through. They're even looking at pinning certain news articles to the top, so you can see important ones that you want to keep up there. This is also an ADA accessible website. So again, as you know, heard before, our website right now is very looks like maybe a Jackson Pollock painting. So this will streamline a lot of those pieces and make it more visible. Also with this has a communication and broadcast piece. So you can get text updates. You get text updates on certain subjects that you would like. If you want Parks and Rec text updates, you get that. If you want public safety, you can get text updates like that. You also can get certain emails. You get subscribed to all town-wide emails, or you can pick a certain category. So for the same price that we pay for the Roadrunner, we can use this software, and it can do a lot more with our communication piece. So we're really excited. We're working on the migration right now with Kevin, with our information, so you can get your permits clearly, in there. You can get department info clear, and it has a good search tool to find what you need on this website. So that is being implemented. I think that'll be a huge plus for the community and help us streamline a lot of our operations as well. So it's exciting. There's been a lot of back end work to get that moving. So we're happy to finally announce that and move forward. So we'll keep you updated. If you go to our website and it looks different, you'll know why. But I hope by the next meeting I can give you an update on where we're at. The microtransit started August 4th, so heard from RTP that people have been using it. So we're looking forward to get the data on that as well, see how we're doing this August. Public safety, they just picked up the new rescue pumper. Works good, looks good. So they have that now in their fleet. Public Works, they're paving Martin Heights right now. So you'll see a lot of road crews out there paving, and they should be starting that right now. North Raymond and Ledge Hill intersection is complete, so there's lights there. That will hopefully cause people to slow down in that area. We also, I like to say, Public Works for their help with the tennis court. There's definitely, we had a great opening with I think probably around 80, 100 people. It was great to see everyone, and I can tell you the courts are being used a lot right now. Parks and Rec, we have our new rec programmer, Riley Small. She's been with us for a couple summers. She was a camp counselor, is now moving into that programmer role. So we're excited to have her. And we also have our assistant Parks and Rec director is Jill Lambert, who was previously the librarian at RES. So we're happy to have them. Very community-minded people, and they are working summer camp right now, so I think they're going to be looking forward to the fall season. We also have our soccer, cross-country, UCAN 5K registrations up. And the Raymond Village Library sent me about a page list of summer events that I was not able to write down, but they are staying active and busy this summer. So great to see the activity at Raymond Village Library. Just like to confirm dates for the upcoming regular meetings. Ordinance workshop for 5 p.m. on September 16th. Then right after that, we'll have this September 16th, the regular select board meeting. October 14th, another select board meeting. And then I know for November, that falls on a holiday, election day, so I think we have to look at moving that select board meeting date. Upcoming holidays, Labor Days, Monday, September 1st, Indigenous Peoples' Days, Monday, October 13th. Town office will be closed anyways on those days. And then Veterans Day, we will also be closed Tuesday, November 11th. And that wraps up the town manager report.
Do we want to look at the October 14th?
October 14th or November?
Well, it says October, November we haven't got to. We have
October's-
September.
I think October
October
should be set.
Should be fine. I think he's saying November was the bad one
I
because
think
it's
November.
Right, but I was
Holiday
asking,
and
you
then
guys are
election day.
available.
I appear to be fine for that.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. We didn't get that last time, so I don't believe. And then November we'll deal with as
Yeah,
we get closer.
yeah, November 11th.
Wait, you said September 16th was the one?
September 16th would be the,
That's the third one, so just make sure everybody has that instead of the second
Okay.
one. I put it in, I'm fine with that. I'm better with that, but.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
I was
moved that last
unavailable
time.
I'm good.
if you
Okay,
were as
perfect.
well.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, okay, good.
then yeah, November, we have Election Day, November 4th, and then
Veterans
Veterans
Day
Day on the 11th. So we'll have to look at moving that. We can check calendars and come back for next meeting if you'd like.
Yes, please.
Or the 18th wouldn't be bad.
Yeah, that's what
You
Works for
guys
me.
want to try to wrap it up now with 18th?
18th works for
I'm
me.
fine with it now. It's hard to,
Sam, do you know if
it's hard to
the
really say, but yeah.
November
Let's pencil that
18th
one
will
in.
work
It is
for
hot
you?
dog season.
For the
Well, we'll just
November
put it
meeting?
tentative.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
We can put tentatively maybe the
Tentative
18th.
works.
Okay, tentatively
December.
18th? Okay, I'll put that down. And
Joe, did you look at my calendar?
no, I did not.
Okay, so pending availability.
Pending availability for Bill too.
But you did look at the October one for him? You all set for October though, Bill?
October's all set.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was November, December with the, will be bill-less.
Yeah, November, I'm away from the 31st of October to the 13th of November.
Should work.
That wraps up the general select board meeting. So I'll entertain a motion for executive session.
Okay, I move to enter into executive session for discussion of personnel matters under 1 MRSA 4056A.
Second.
All those in favor? Thank you for coming in. All right, we're back out of the executive session. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved?
Second.
All in favor? I thought that'd be unanimous.
For the concept, but I'm not sure this is the right execution. I would have much rather seen something that talked about the bus first. I hope that because it's in there as an RTP microvan service, that it doesn't get in the way of Joe, you talking to them about how can they go about doing this to include bus pickup and stop in Raymond, and whether that's a reallocation or however that's done. But I would really urge for having a bus stop, and for two reasons. One is because I think it's good for the town of Raymond. And the second piece of it, which I think is just as important, is Raymond being one of the communities in the Lakes region that is participating in something that is beneficial for the entire Lakes region. I think what's good for the Lakes region is good for Raymond and vice versa. And I think it's a missed opportunity, and I think it's been a bit of a black eye on the part of Raymond to year after year vote down the bus while our neighboring towns have been doing it on arguments like, well, you know, somebody going to Casco is going further, they should be paying more. There was a lot of minutia. We've missed the opportunity to be part of a larger community outside just the town's borders. Thank you.
Don?
Yes, I don't want to reiterate everything that's been said by Brian and Peter, but I do want to say that I agree with that assessment that Brian just provided. To me, the bus is the baseline, and that's where we should start. I don't disagree that this shuttle service could be a good extra layer, you know, gilding that lily, if in fact there is a significant number of people who cannot get to the bus stop. I don't know what level of study was actually done to confirm or deny that supposition. To me, it's an anecdote, and you know, so we've kind of, you know, gone to a higher order magnitude service before we even are participants in the base level service. And I can tell you from my own personal experience that Raymond not participating is viewed very negatively by our neighbors in the Lakes region and probably throughout the quarter. And you know, it's a good faith thing, and if it benefits a few people, I say so be it. If it's not there at all, then how in the world is it ever going to be something that will grow and develop over time? It's a de minimis amount of money. I don't know why we waste time arguing on such things. I mean, Brian said it well, I think, when he said that it, you know, it speaks to us as a community and what we stand for. And right now, what we end up standing for is it does not give us a very good look, I guess, with our neighboring communities. So I personally believe this is the wrong approach at this time, and I'll be voting no. Thank you.
Bill?
Bill Blood, 7 Mill Street. I just want to make a comment. My understanding from the discussion with RTP and my past experience with dealing with RTP myself is this bus that they're going to have in the town is basically to be able to get people to locations that they don't have transportation. It could be elderly, it could be people that don't have cars, that bus service is basically to get them to the locations that they need to get to, as well as the bus that would take them to Portland, if I'm correct.
The bus, you mean? The bus or the transportation?
The microbus.
Microbus.
The microbus, yes.
Microbus gets you to a bus if they have to go into Portland.
If they need to go to Portland, but
Yes.
also if they need to go to Wyndham, go to
Yes.
Casco, or wherever. It's a means for people who have no transportation to get to different locations.
Yes.
Not, I'm hearing this mixed information from others that they think that, that amount of money that's being set aside for that is an expense that, shouldn't be there when we already have, what's the percentage, like 60% of the people in Raymond that are 60 and older, 50 years and older, and there's a lot of people I know that they just don't have transportation. I used to use the bus all the time getting to and from Portland when I was working in Portland, and the RTP bus when it stopped in Raymond, but if I had to go to Wyndham or Casco, I'd be fine with that. So I think the priority would be to get people to the locations that do not have transportations from their homes, to be able to get around Raymond or Casco, Wyndham, wherever.
No, and one of the issues that we found out doing this too is, yes, there is a population that does take the bus, but there is also a big population that cannot get to the bus.
Right.
And we found through Age Friendly that we have a volunteer and her husband that are picking these people up, driving them to their appointments, driving them to the grocery store and stuff like that. So one of the things that I know Joe did is we checked on what it would cost to have our own van. It would have to be handicap accessible. You'd have to pay for a driver. You'd have to pay for the insurance. You'd have to do all the insurance on the person and on the vehicle. You'd have to, there's a lot involved. So with the RTP, they have the driver, if something breaks down, they have a whole fleet that would come in and replace that. They have the person that has a background checks, has been trained, has the insurance on them. So technically in that way, I think it was just for one vehicle, it was over $100,000 just to do it. So I understand the front line as far as getting the people there with their cars, but we also have to get the people that are not there and get them down, and the age-friendly people and people that can't afford a vehicle or just is not comfortable, I guess, enough to drive from here to there for whatever reason.
And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, there's also the discussion of the possibility of, kind of like after the fact renegotiating, is it possible for that amount of money, a portion of it being used to be able to get the bus to Raymond? I don't know if I'm correct on that.
Well, I guess that's what's being asked here, and that's something that Joe can talk to Don Libby about and work on a negotiation on that. So, including possibly both of them.
I think it's a great opportunity, and I'm voting yes on it.
I mean, in the discussions that we had with Mr. Libby was that, it's a program that's, he wants to work with us on as far as how the thing can work best. So if it turns out that it's, that it's being used more one way than another, then it can be adjusted that way. If it's being, so there's flexibility on his side to work with us on there to see how the program is going to work best for us. And if that means that, we have to make some mid-course corrections, and then mid-course corrections would get made.
We can go month to month is what it is, and we can cancel if it's not working. And I know Deb Tarr, our Age Friendly, has already people, and she's getting it out there now that could use this. Yeah. And so what she'll do is she'll keep a log and find out the numbers and see how we are on that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Brian?
Sorry, I don't want to belabor, but just a possible problem-solving idea. I know that we can do it month by month, and I would guess that we would do it for at least, say, 3 months, or something like that to find out. I'm hoping for at least that. And by the way, I'm totally in favor of the micro van. I don't really want it to be an either or. I want it to be an and. What if, in the negotiations of how payment occurred, there's a guarantee for 1 year on the bus so that 12,000 is allocated, and then no matter what happens, so then you take the remaining balance and you say, okay, we take that across the 12 months, and if for some reason at the end of 3 months we say this just really isn't working because it's not being utilized, or for whatever reason, what RTP would keep would be the 12,000 plus the 3 months of that remaining balance, so that they would do well. That would, I think, motivate them to try to make sure that both systems are working together. Because you make some really good points, Therese, about getting people who don't have a car, don't have a way to get to the bus. It would give them the option of getting to the bus. One of my concerns is I don't think it's not really quite like a regular program that those buses are going to be kind of on demand. And as you know, the buses only run a limited number of times a day. I believe there's 4 round trips. So maybe there's the possibility of saying, look, we'll give you the 12 for the bus if you include that in our overall amount of 67.5, and then I can't do the math. Peter, if you think you have no math brain, I've got 0 net math brain. But take 67.5 minus 12,000, whatever's left, divided by 12, and say, that's what we'll use. If it's not working out after 5 months or 6 months on the micro van, that's the amount that will be, you will still end up with more money at the end of the year.
Right, and that's
Just a
something that would be with Joe to negotiate that out, yes.
Perfect, that's what I was hoping.
And I think too, just because it's the rec part of it, and one of the things was a concern, and I know Frank McDermott had even agreed with this too, is we had somebody that was a volunteer that was driving. And we do not want an insurance issue, we do not want an accident happening, we don't want any of that. And so to keep everybody safe, to keep everybody above board like that, but to also reach more people. But yeah, that's something that Joe can negotiate and talk to. Dawn is great to talk to. Dawn Libby really is. And so see if we can get a plan. But I do know that Deb Tarr wanted to be able to, because she's under rec, is be able to give it some time. She is going, the other thing that was said too, Don Libby said that he will give postcards to us to put in everybody's mailboxes, send it to everybody, so the word gets out more about it, so we can promote it, and if it doesn't work, then yeah. Yeah.
Brian, we can get updates too. We can, as we, it was me, Brian, sorry. We can get updates too, month by month, and kind of present that to kind of look at it as it's going on during next fiscal year. So we can give those updates and course correct if we have to, or renegotiate as we get that information.
Don?
Yes, thank you, Don Willard, 149 Spill Hill Road. I'm not sure I agree with this whole issue of negotiating. Based on the way this warrant article is written, it's specific as to what the money should be used for. And I think to go after the fact back and negotiate with them, even if it were legal to appropriate this money in that way, is kind of small potatoes. My suggestion would be that the Board of Selectmen decide to take the money for the bus, the baseline money for the bus, out of the contingency fund or some other source that they have discretionary control over, to say, give us your best price for a microbus service, and they do that, and then you go back and you say, well, we're going to negotiate with you, and we want you to take this actual amount that is known, the 12,000 or whatever that's known for the bus, and our neighbors pay for the bus in that way, and we want you to wrap it into this other thing that we've asked you for your best price on. I think that's bad negotiation, bad business, and is contrary to the warrant article, and I don't know if it's even legal to do that. So I would say, don't do that. That really is a bad look, really bad look. Let's do the bus and do it from contingency or however we need to fund it. And then I would be 100% in favor of this, because although I don't know if there's been enough study to determine the need, I think the concept, as Bill has pointed out, Brian's pointed out, Peter's pointed out, I think the concept's great and fine. And but to use the minibus to go to Wyndham Stop or Casco Stop, come on, people. let's do the right thing. Thank you.
Other questions on Article Q? Question R, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $13,250 for provider agencies, $1,500 for the Crescent Lake Watershed Association, $750 for the Lake Region Chamber of Commerce, $10,000 for the Thomas Pond Dam restoration, and $1,000 to be used at the town manager's discretion. Questions? Question S, to see if the town will vote to appropriate the total sum of $2,221,180 from estimated non-property tax revenues to reduce the property tax commitment together with all categories of funds which may be available from the federal government or any other sources. Questions? Question T, to see if the town will vote to accept certain state funds as provided by the Maine State Legislature during the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2025, and any other funds provided by any other entities, including but not limited to municipal revenue sharing, local road use assistance, emergency management assistance, snowmobile registration money, homestead exemption, tree growth reimbursement, general assistance reimbursement, veterans exemption reimbursement, business equipment tax exemption, reimbursement, state grants, and/or other funds. That's the, we'll take money from anyone. Questions? Question U, to see if the town will vote to authorize the use of town employees and/or town-owned equipment or independent contractors hired by the town for maintenance on private roads in special and certain circumstances wherein the public interest. This is the one that it's more done from the emergency standpoint, that if an emergency vehicle has to get down a road that's a private road and it's unplowed, for the safety of the emergency vehicles, we will allow that to be done. It also comes into play on the school side for special needs issues. But it is not to say that town will maintain and work on private roads. Questions? Question V, to see if the town will vote to appropriate from undesignated fund balance $642,688 for the employee benefits liability.
568.
Oh, sorry. 642,568. Questions? Peter?
Peter Levitt, 2 Levitt Road. I just think it's important for the public to realize that sum of money is not really going to be allocated other than to just cover an issue that's usually called in budgetary standards as an unfunded liability. So there's no expectation that a significant portion of that is going to be paid out every year, and every year it will decrease.
That is correct. Charlie?
Yes, Charles Levitt, 14 Levitt Road. I'm the other brother. I'd like to ask the town manager, could you explain what an undesignated fund balance is?
Undesignated fund balance?
Yes.
Have all the general fund monies that are not expended in a fiscal year get rolled over into a general surplus.
So in essence, and it's such an august body here today with chairman of the select board here, who was a former chairman of budget finance and former town manager here. My question would be, is the undesignated fund balance money from surplus that is really overtaxation of the citizens of Raymond from previous years?
So you're asking if the money's not expensed,
well,
if that is not Zero-based budgeting, is that what you're
Well,
asking for?
no, I'm asking is, how do you generate an undesignated fund balance? Where does that revenue come from to generate a surplus?
If town departments are not expending out of that account, they would have a positive net balance in their overall accounts and it gets
I
rolled
see.
over.
So that account is funded by the citizens of the town of Raymond in their taxes.
So let me see if I can answer.
Please.
It can come from two areas. It can come from taxes, and if you have an unspent thing. It can also come from unanticipated revenues. Right. Either you had excise tax that was higher than anticipated, you had other areas that came in that exceeded original estimates on that, so that the simple answer is yes. In general, it's generally looked at as, yeah, that's that money that was raised by taxes that wasn't spent. But it can be, it is a combination of the two. It can be from that standpoint because something didn't get spent over and it wasn't a carry forward item. Then it reverts back into the general fund and it falls to the undesignated surplus. It also gives us that buffer in regards to meeting the 15% that we need in order to, which is important, is towards maintaining our bond rating, because having adequate reserves there helps keep that, which helps us keep that AAA rating, so that if we start to fall below those numbers, then that's going to affect our bond rating, which is going to hurt us on the borrowing side.
And then it's also affected by the commitment that's made in September, correct? Which happens after the town meeting, after the vote, whether it's an open town meeting or a ballot. That commitment, generally, the assessor, the contract assessor, gives the select board a range of where it could be if it generated no more money from taxes, and a higher range of how much, and typically that's what I understood usually is $100,000 per nickel of the tax rate. So to get to my point, when we say that we're going to use $700,000 from the undesignated fund balance to lower this year's tax rate per $1,000, we're actually saying to the citizens, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Willard, because we've had this discussion many times before, again with Chairman Bruno.
Please address comments to the chair, not to the.
I'm just making a comment to the august body here assembled, including, and I'm sorry, Karen, for not including you as the present chair of the Budget Finance Committee, that we're saying to the citizens of the town of Raymond, we're taking your old tax money that we overtaxed you on, and we're going to bring it forward this year, $700,000, to lower the tax rate, so that now it's $700,000, where years ago it was $100,000, $200,000. So it appears to the average citizen like myself that we're, as it was said before, it's kind of like a gimmick of saying to the people of the town of Raymond, we're keeping your taxes low, but we're keeping your taxes low based on the taxes we already took from you from years past.
As I say, some of that fund is from there, some of it is from increased revenues from one, and we also still have, there's still some funding that's in there from the settlement that we did on the environmental issue. So it's not all increase, it's not all direct money that came.
And as I recall, excuse me, Rolf, but the settlement that we made on the lakefront property violation actually was a wash. The town of Raymond lost money on that deal. It wasn't an adequate deal. We ended up paying more in legal and fees and ongoing commitment to have to watch that lake frontage. So in a way, bringing that up is, again, what we might call a red herring. It's a diversionary tactic to the fact that the town of Raymond overtaxes every year its citizens on the property tax in order to then say the following year, aren't we doing a great job with keeping the budget down and the tax rate down? So that's all my comment. I won't keep you any longer. Thank you.
Right.
Charlie, good to see you.
Oh, same here, Brian. Sorry, you were on budget finance also.
Yeah, right. This is a matter of perspective. I'm sorry, I cannot not comment. I see it, and it's just a difference of opinion. I see it as making sure we have the contingencies when we need them. And I think the legal issues that came up that we needed to fund are a perfect example of no one expected that. We needed it. We had it. We litigated it. We were successful in that litigation. I see it as good town department managers managing their budget and being frugal and returning the funds that aren't needed. And that ultimately then the town returns them when appropriate so that we can keep our AAA bond rating and keep our debt down and keep the leveraging that we have to do. So just a difference of opinion.
Peter Levitt, 2 Lever Road, the other brother. So I guess my point would be this one, that Ralph is correct, and Moody's bond ratings are important, and they are set by, in large part, by what the town has in reserve. It demonstrates how fiscally responsible they are. That being said, Moody's sets the range at 5 to 15%. What the town has elected to do is set it at the higher end rather than the lower end. And unfortunately, what happens with undesignated fund balances is that, yes, and I agree with Ralph, some of it that comes from other than the taxpayer. But ultimately, what can be used in the undesignated fund balance, as I understand it, is for emergencies, for needed, emergent needed equipment. So if you were to take $700,000 of the undesignated fund balance and put it towards a fire truck, wouldn't that not decrease the need to bond it and pay interest on it? Because that's my understanding of how an undesignated fund balance can be used. So being overly preoccupied with what our Moody's says we are as far as a stellar fiscal municipality, double A bonding, and not that bad in my understanding. Even an A bonding is not that bad if in fact what it allows you to do is reduce having the debt service on having to go to bonding on everything. Thank you.
Still Charles Levitt, 14 Levitt Road. Just as a simple civics lesson, anytime the voters in the town of Raymond and the need of this government is in search of additional funds, you hold a special town meeting. So we'll hold a special town meeting for a comprehensive plan that should have been included in this meeting, and it's not being included. So we're going to come back at some weird time, maybe in July when no one's around, or August, to approve a comprehensive plan that probably reasonably could have been included in this discussion. However, if we need a fire truck, if we need legal assistance to pursue, we have a special town meeting. You want the community to come back? Let the community come back and talk about it. Let's not use gimmicks like the commitment and the undesignated fund balance to fund the growth of this government in places where the community isn't having input. If this had been a regular town meeting right now and it was a Saturday, how many more people would have been in this room? Maybe 100, maybe 150. How many voters are there in the town of Raymond? 2,000? 3,800. So and I see someone who I've had major disagreements with over the years, Frank McDermott over here, who came up during a comprehensive plan meeting and said, we have to come up with a new form of being able to engage this community. And he thought of a hybrid system. And I think it was Mr. Meister in his article in the Windham Beagle came back and said, we need to come back with a new form of getting citizen input. And the way you're going to get that citizen input is making this the informational town meeting on a Saturday, not on a Tuesday, well before the election, so the whole community can come. You can have childcare, you can have the Lions Club doing the coffee, just like we used to do in the old gym down at the end of this building. And then have the ballot vote 10 days later, where you have the most representation of the people after they've had a chance to come together in a community setting and learn about how their government operates or doesn't operate efficiently. Thank you.
That's for a different meeting, not.
Questions on question B?
Meeting, what he's doing. Somebody ought to tell him. Don't shut me up.
I told him this. He said, don't shut
Okay, question W. See if the town will vote to authorize the select board to enter into a lease purchase agreement, the amount not to exceed $1,600,000, not including interest and/or other legal fees, on such terms as they deem advisable for the purpose of purchasing a new stock ladder truck, and raise and appropriate an amount not to exceed $187,348.08 for the payment due for fiscal year 25-26 and for 10 year and for the 10-year lease. Questions on the ladder truck? Question Y. The next series of questions are land use ordinance articles. So if
Jason back there.
Peter Levitt, 2 Levitt Road, I asked this question at the last public hearing, so I'm going to ask it again. Why is Article 26 left blank?
Article 26 would have been the comprehensive plan, but the edits were not completed in time to get ready, so that's why it does not appear on this on there.
Okay, so I guess I have a comment and two comments. One is that recently a select board member described the comprehensive plan committee as a failed committee. And my only question would, in response to his comment, was I'd ask, compared to what? So that'd be my first question as far as failed committees or boards. Secondly, I guess I just ask informationally, this current meeting will air before June 10th on our television network?
Yes.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Question Y. Show Article 4, Section 2B, dealing with the number of copies, and Article 5, Section 2B, dealing with number of copies, Article 6, Section 2A, number of copies, Article 7, Section 2B, number of copies of the subdivision ordinance as adopted May 21, 1984, and amended through June 4, 2019, and Articles 10.3A.3B, applications, and Article 10.4A3, submission requirements for the land use ordinance as adopted May 21, 1994, and amended through June 11, 2024, be further amended by adding the underscored language and removing the language in the strikeout text as shown in addendum number 2. Jason, you want to just give a highlight on?
It's a tongue twister.
on what that change does.
Yeah, Jason Williamson, code enforcement. Really, it's just kind of, we get a lot of copies. I think this kind of is just dated. Now everything's digital, so we don't need so many copies anymore. I'm just looking at more PDFs to reduce paperwork and clutter, really.
So it's just dealing with the number of copies that have to be submitted.
Correct.
Questions on question Y? Question Z, shall Article 10.3A10A, expiration of approval of the land use ordinance is adopted May 21, 1994, and amended through June 11, 2024, be further amended by adding the underscored language and removing the language in the strikeout text as shown in Addendum 3.
Jay's just going to live over there.
This one is just clarifying, making it clear from when someone's approved, how long they have to start, how much of an extension they can get, and when it has to be finished, just clarifying the language.
Questions on question Z? Question AA. Shall Article 5.5, footnote 3, street design standards of the Town of Raymond Street Ordinance adopted May 18, 2002, and amended through June 2, 2015, be further amended by adding the underscored language and removing the language in strikeouts as in Addendum number 4?
This is just to clarify that the reviewing authority is always the planning board in this situation, so just removing the reviewing authority and changing that to planning board seemed to make sense, so it's obvious.
Questions on AA? Question AB, shall Article 6.3.E.3 appeals procedure of the land use ordinance is adopted May 21, 1994, and adopted through June 11, 2024, be further amended by adding the underscored language and removing the language and strikeout text as in Addendum 5.
Yeah, so this one, we noticed there was a discrepancy between what our ordinance said and what the state law was, so this was to bring this into line with state guidelines.
Jay, can I ask you a question on something?
Yeah.
Just regarding what the state says and what the town says. Do you guys find anywhere that your home rule overrides the state?
This situation would make it more lenient, so I think we might be able to be stricter. I'm not sure. I'd have to look into that to see if we could allow longer. A lot of these things, they follow the state guidelines. So if we told someone they had 16 days, but they really only had 7, there could be a real issue there legally, I think, where we told them they had more time than they really had. Because we wouldn't want someone in an appeals process to come at day 8 or 9. Right. We tell them that, yes, it's good, and then it goes, and then the state's like, no, that was no good, and we're kind of in a situation where we there could be like a estoppel type of situation, I think. Or
so you work pretty much hand in hand with the state then, so you guys are even as far as where they go the information?
Well, I've only been through a couple appeals, so I haven't seen how they all work, but we saw a potential issue if we had told someone 16 days and then they had submitted it, and then when we submit any paperwork to the state, potentially an issue there with how the violation would be handled.
Okay.
From a general standpoint, from home rule, you can make a ruling that is more restrictive but not less restrictive.
Right. That's how we interpret it.
So in this case, we would have been less restrictive.
Right.
We would have, so the state rule would have had to take precedence.
Correct, and we were concerned about their rights too. We wouldn't want to, everybody has a right to appeal, so giving them the correct information, if that appeal was to go up to the state level, that we would want to make sure that was all done properly.
Okay, thank you.
Questions on AB? Question AC, shall Article 6.2.B.1 shore and road frontage and Article Okay, shall Article 6.2.B.1 shore and road frontage and Article 6.4E piers, docks, wharves, bridges, and other structures and uses extending over and below normal high water line of water bodies and within wetlands of the Town of Raymond Shoreland Zoning Ordinance is adopted May 21, 1994, and amended through June 11, 2024, be further amended by adding the underscored language in the diagrams and removing the language in the strikeout text.
Yes, so this, question first, or? Yeah, so this was a recommendation from the town planner to, just to make the language more clear about that it was, you would need the same frontage, the 225 feet on the road and the 225 feet on the shore. He felt that there was a little bit of ambiguity there, so it was just to make that obvious, but.
Brian?
Brian Walker, Rolfe Road. Jason, you may have just answered this. Is this, if it's for clarification, that's, I guess, the answer. I just was wondering, is this fixing a problem that we're seeing out there in the environment or around our towns in terms of people putting out massive docks or something? And are people subdividing to a place where they have a little entrance and then they take the 225 feet. So I was just curious whether we're fixing problems or anticipating problems with these things.
Are you talking about as far as the dock configuration part? So that was just to make it clear. There's a lot of docks in town. There's probably a lot of docks that are not conforming. So we just trying to kind of encourage people to see a visual and understand what is allowed and what's not allowed.
I have a question for you, Lee, please. Thanks. Would there be lots grandfathered from this? I mean, I know there's a lot of lots around the lake that are 100 foot, for example.
Oh, those, right, yes, a legally non-conforming lot that has frontage will be allowed a dock. This is for new lots. A buildable lot is supposed to have 225 feet of road frontage, but we have plenty of lots that are legally existing lots that are buildable. So this is for new lots going forward. We don't allow any lots to be created that wouldn't meet those dimensional requirements anyways. So any new lot created now presumably would be allowed a dock as long as because they would have the 225 feet. There are some with right-of-ways that predate these rules, so they are grandfathered in. And then there are some that are just small lots around Thomas Pond, for example, and parts of Raymond Pond, and they have docks and they're allowed.
That's what I was thinking. Thank you.
11 to Levitt Road, and as far as dock configurations, I don't know if it's this article or another one, but there was a diagram in there that showed what would be allowed for a configuration and the like. Just my understanding of this, and it may be corrected by the code enforcement officer, but I do attend a lot of the planning board meetings as well, and it seems like that part of this issue came to them from the Zoning Board of Appeals, who had to deal with an issue, and that the language in the ordinance was not putting them in the best position. I have some amount of experience on the Zoning Board of Appeals, and I can tell you that, like with almost any of the ordinance committees, they have very limited type of authority. People in general seem to have the misconception that, that we're telling you exactly what you can and can't do with your property, and that it's arbitrary, and that we have very broad powers, when in fact just the opposite is true. So we are very, very dependent on the language, meaning a zoning board of appeals or a planning board. So that's, I believe, how this issue came before the planning board, and that the configurations basically do comply with the state guidelines. So I believe we're in pretty solid area there. One other thing I might mention as far as ordinances are concerned is that there was a discussion early on at Budget Finance Committee regarding somehow dedicating a portion of the dollars from basically the settlement on Sebago Lake to a fund dedicated to legal issues, especially involving shoreland, because I believe what I heard from the town contract planner as far as the incident on Sebago Lake and Raymond, it's not a question of if going forward. So I just make that comment.
Yeah, the dock rules are mostly state rules, and we're just kind of administering the state's rules. We're tasked with that. So we always have to make sure those dock rules are, because our jurisdiction, there's overlapping jurisdiction here. You know, the state owns the waters, but we have to administer the docks going in. So, and people come to us with a dock configuration, so we have to look at their dock configuration, okay it, and then when it's done, they're supposed to call us and we do a final inspection. The trouble is, they come out every year. So we're not checking docks every year, and we don't have the manpower to go and check everybody's dock every year it goes in. So the next year it goes in, we're relying on them to put it in the same way it was the year before. Whether it does or not, that's another question.
Just one more comment regarding that last comment, and that's the fact that absolutely, I don't think in a town this size, given the amount of a shorefront we could have a big enough code enforcement office to be able to really enforce every single ordinance. My experience of 25 years on the Zoning Board of Appeals, and I've said this before, is generally the Zoning Board of Appeals or the code enforcement officer being contacted by a neighbor. I know that it kind of makes you a little bit squeamish when you think in terms of, well, is this communism, that the neighbors are turning in neighbors? But I will tell you that as far as enforcement of ordinances, especially involving the shorefront, 99% of my experience is it's due to a neighbor basically seeing a dock go in that doesn't conform. And the first thing they do is call the code enforcement officer or go to the ordinance, and then they take out their measuring tape, and then you have an issue with the Zoning Board of Appeals, and then eventually, in some cases, you end up in Superior Court. Thanks.
Other questions on AC? Question AD. Shall Article 12.2, terms defined of the land use ordinance as adopted May 21, 1994 and amended through June 11, 2024, be further amended by adding the underscore language and removing the language and strikeout in text 7?
So this one was more clarification, citizens initiative for the solar. There was some wording in there. We were just concerned about some of the legally existing commercial operations, thinking that they couldn't put solar on just to cover their energy needs. The intent of I believe the intent of the ordinance was to stop commercial scale, large scale operations from which are for-profit selling energy to the grid. And we just want to make sure that some of the smaller commercial operations that are legally existing in other areas or even commercial areas knew that they could still put solar panels up to zero out their energy usage. And we just wanted to make sure that that wasn't, there was no confusion on that one.
Questions on AD?
David Brown from 91 Tenny Hill Road again. And I do have a question about that, because that was something I highlighted, was accessory in item A, accessory solar energy systems may, but are not required to, be designed to achieve net zero consumption for private use. And I would just like some clarification on why that language was necessary to be in the ordinance.
I don't believe the intent was to say that they could profit from it. I think it was just not everybody's going to have enough solar panels to offset all their costs. But that the intent of the net zero is that even if someone produced more energy than they used, they wouldn't get paid back for it. That's a whole different tier, I believe. With a homeowner, I don't believe can put up solar panels on their house and get money back. So it's really for commercial scale. I'm speaking for a lot of other people right now because a lot of people's work went into wording the ordinance. But I believe that design is just so people can design a system that does produce more, so they can ensure that they're not paying for electricity, but they're not able to get money back from it. Does that make sense?
No, because otherwise it doesn't get captured.
So the feeling apparently was that if we didn't say that it would raise a question, that it would make it look like if someone's making more energy than they need, it would seem like they're trying to make it to sell it. So you're just clarifying that it's okay, kind of like it's okay to make a little extra, and you're not going to trigger that issue.
Correct, because it's hard to exactly tell how much power you're going to need, how much, because both are variable. You know, how much sun you're going to get, and then so people are going to oversize their system, the thought is. So they have that ability to oversize it slightly so that they can guarantee they don't pay for it.
Other questions on AD? Question AE. Shall Section 3, Administration, Section 6, Compliance, and Section 7, New Construction and Subdivision of the Town of Raymond Assessing Ordinance, adopted May 15th, 1997, and amended through June 5, 2018, and be further amended by adding the underscored language and removing the language and strike out as an addendum number 8.
This one is just for addressing, for size, changing the size of the numbers from 3 to 4 inches, I believe. This one was from the fire department. I don't know if you want to speak to this. Or? Yeah, I think it's just numbers, right? The size? Yeah, so it's just the size of the numbers to make them easier to see. Some of these camps are set back from the road quite a ways, so it's not always easy to tell what number of houses, especially when they're tight together, and it's just to help with fire and rescue, I think, mostly.
Peter Levitt, 2 Lever Road. So I guess my question is, because I think I've heard it both ways, is this retroactive to all houses or only new construction? And what would the reporting mechanism be? My sense was, and this was discussed at the last meeting, that it would basically be the responsibility or fire or rescue, or maybe code enforcement, that if they went to find a certain location in the town and found that it was not easy to identify it, that's how you would address the issue. Thanks.
Bruce Tupper, Fire Rescue Chief. Yes and no is my answer. So I'll be clear as mud. So as we find past addresses that are illegible, hidden behind bushes, they were on a tree at this height and now they're 30 feet in the air and we can't find them, things like that, which is what we find all the time. We still have about a 50% non-compliance rate in addressing, and it's going to continue down that road despite all our efforts, unfortunately. But as we find them, what we do is we talk with the person who owns the property and say, you know, we were delayed, blah, blah, blah. We have numbers that we give out as part of a program through our association. We will continue that program. So there really is no reason for someone not to have the appropriate address markings on their house. It's just they don't think of it, because to you, your house number is right where you put it. And that's the discussion I have often with people. It is right on the tree where I put it. I see it every day, right? I live there. The problem is that I don't live there, and I'm trying to find you in an emergency. So we just have to do this as part of an educational effort. Getting all our new ones up to par as they come online, it really is important to have that increase in size on the numbers. My eyesight's not getting better as I age, and therefore I don't find things as easy as I used to, and the rest of the crew is in the same boat. And we're out at night, we're in storms, we're in inclement weather, etc. So to have this clarify some of that, and then we are working together as codes and fire rescue to make sure as we find things that we give that educational component and try to get people to put the right addressing markings up so that we can find them easier in the future, should they need us. Is that everything?
Other questions on AE? That concludes all the articles. Right?
We are about to lose two of our longest serving members on the select board, and I think that needs to be acknowledged. I don't always agree with you guys. You don't always agree with me. That's okay. That's the way democracies work. We debate things. We bring things up. Your years of service are amazing. The number of hours that you've given to this town are amazing, and I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you.
No other comments? We will close the meeting, and thank you all for attending.
Good evening. This is the Jordan Small Middle School Visioning Committee, and I would like to call this meeting to order. And our first order of business is a review of the minutes from last meeting, and assuming or hoping everybody had a chance to look at them. Any questions or comments?
The next meeting is on, we're not having a meeting on the 9th?
Correct.
Okay.
Because of the town meeting.
Yeah, that makes sense, yeah, okay. That's the only question I had.
So the next meeting is the 16th.
I move that we accept the minutes. Second.
Second. All in favor? Moved and passed. Thank you. So next order of on the agenda was a follow-up with Rolf. He and I have chatted a couple of times since last meeting, and but the main issue was the discussion about this committee and what our scope was, and he sees no reason why we shouldn't include all of our thoughts, including what we would like to do with or what we recommend being done with vacant buildings. He says it will just save the next committee time and effort if we give them food for thought. So we're good to go there. I did talk with Kevin. I don't have that as a bullet on the agenda, but thought of it as I was prepping today. And the question there was to Kevin about the use of the basement space at Jordan Small Middle School, possibly for the service, because when we toured it last, we found that it was pretty dry and everything. And as I'm sure you can imagine, Kevin was very good at providing me some response to that. And his criteria is it has to be a dry location, above ground level, and without the help of relying on sump pumps. The height measurement requirement is at least 8 feet. As you remember, one section of that's only like 6 feet. The other one is maybe barely 8 feet. So right there, that might make it a non-contender. Environmental control must be maintained at 72 degrees Fahrenheit. As we continue to add servers, that becomes more of a challenge because, of course, the servers add more heat, every one that you add to it. And it should be co-located with the IPTV control room, where they would have the support needed for running the control room. Another item is that he mentioned again was that the IPTV control room needs to be near to, adjacent to the broadcast studio so that the videographer has easy access to whatever meeting is taking place in case they need to interact during the meeting. And then easy access to the ceiling for distribution of cabling and whatnot. So all
Makes care of that.
good information, and we will also send that forward to the next committee for their consideration. So, developing a method for reporting to the select board. The next thing I had on here was the mission statement. I want to thank Deb, Lori, and Grace for pulling something together for us to review and talk about. And I was wondering if one of the three of you would be willing to read it into the record.
Go for it, Deb.
Me? Yeah.
Okay. So the mission statement for the visioning committee or the mission statement for the community center? Which do you want?
Whatever you guys came up with, I think is.
All right, so we did two things. We drafted a mission statement.
I took them as one, I'm sorry.
Oh.
Okay.
We drafted a mission statement for this committee.
Okay.
Vision committee, and then we drafted a vision and mission for a community center.
Okay.
So the draft mission statement for the visioning committee, the Jordan Small Middle School Visioning Committee is tasked with identifying potential uses for the Jordan Small Middle School, utilizing information gathered via the draft 2025 Raymond Comprehensive Plan and input from the community and town departments, including the library, parks and recreation, and town offices.
Great, thank you.
You want me to continue?
Yes, please.
All right, so our draft vision for the community center for Raymond is residents and visitors of all ages will have expanded opportunities for learning, well-being, social connection, and civic engagement. That's the vision. The mission for the community center, the Raymond Community Center, or whatever it becomes known as, will foster community connections, provide resources, programs, services, meeting spaces, and technology in a safe, welcoming, accessible environment. The specific offerings will align with the needs, goals, and aspirations of the community as identified in the draft 2025 Raymond Comprehensive Plan.
All right. Sounds good. Any follow-up thoughts or discussion? Or?
I thought it was very good, really good.
Okay.
One thing that we discussed was attaching the wish list for specific types of programs and services with this. So in case there were questions about what did we mean by any of this, there would be a little more detail or examples.
Examples, okay. All right, great. Do I have a motion to accept this as something that we want to use going forward?
I so move.
Second? All those in favor?
Who
All right.
seconded?
Well done, thank you.
I didn't see who seconded.
Kayla.
Kayla did. All right. So just a note here on the Jordan Small floor plan. It hasn't changed from our last meeting as far as I haven't done any additional updates since we haven't really made any changes yet. I did take an attempt at doing that on the PDF, and hopefully everybody got a copy of that so that you can refer to it in your leisure. And that way we've got something to refer back to and something that's easy to transport to the next committee as well. The next thing I had on the list was a summary report. Just wanted to get a sense for am I headed in the right direction? Is there something that, I know that this is incomplete, first of all, so I'll just say that up front. But it was kind of, it started out as an outline, but I couldn't help myself but fill in a few of the blanks along the way. So mostly things like dates and numbers and stuff like that. But the area that's probably going to need the most work from us as a committee is the summary and the recommendations and the conclusion. And I'm looking for additional input.
think it's great format. I think it really follows what we've done, and it helps people understand what it is they'll be looking at when they read the report.
Okay, great.
So, a couple things. It's in the very first, the intro, you're referring to it as the implementation committee. I was just thinking maybe the planning or repurposing committee might be better, because I don't know that they're implementing it until the town's actually voting on it, right?
Right, so I didn't pick that word myself. I found that
In the charge?
in some of the charge, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I used it. We can put in whatever, I think, yeah, and actually I found it was actually Building Implementation Committee.
Building committee might even be better than what I just said, too. I don't know. I mean, I'm fine, but that just caught my eye,
Yeah, okay.
so.
Any other thoughts?
Under
probably not a
the,
big deal. Sorry.
No, that's good,
No, it's a
Grace,
good
thank
one,
you.
yeah.
That's what I'm looking for.
under the summary and recommendations, we discussed a little bit about maybe recommending that there's a couple of liaisons from this committee that would follow through with the implementation committee, just to maintain continuity
Oh, here, Deb.
and of intent and that kind of
Yes,
thing.
that's a good point, yeah.
So I didn't know if that could go in that
I think that's a
section.
good place, yeah, that absolutely, it should be included as part of that.
Also, under the summary and recommendations, it says, recommends the current village library, the B, once it is vacant. That's assuming that that's what the building committee is going to, or whatever that committee is going to do. I think we're kind of assuming that that will indeed happen.
Right.
But maybe if it becomes vacant or something would be, just because we're not really making that decision, although pretty much we have, perfectly honest, I think, but.
No, I think that's,
And instead of thrift shop, I think we were talking more about the loan closet idea along with the food.
actually, when I looked at the minutes, it had both.
Yeah,
Yeah.
both, okay.
Both
Talked
thrift,
about
yeah.
both.
So do we might want to mention that then, the medical loan or just loan closet or something,
Yep.
just to not lose that idea?
I think so.
And if we're making recommendations for the vacant library, will we be doing the same thing for the vacant town office? Is that another agenda item that we're going to talk about
We
later?
could.
But this would be
Yeah.
the place to put it.
Yeah, the only reason I haven't said, that, I mean, we haven't, as a committee, discussed much about the town offices, is we've been more focused on that, what to do with the library. That seemed like a good building, and we hadn't actually even gotten to the point where we're incorporating the town offices into Jordan Small Middle School, although I think we are headed that way.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was the sense I got from the last meeting, is
Yeah.
most people discussing didn't have a problem with the town office having space in that building.
Right,
Especially after looking at the numbers that you published.
right,
Yeah.
right, by the numbers. Yeah. All right.
Can I ask that on where it's got the town committees listed, 9 committees, some are defunct,
Mhm.
maybe some are inactive or defunct? I don't know if they're all defunct, but.
Yeah, that's probably a better word. I was struggling with that a little bit
Yeah.
when I never went circled back.
Some are not meeting, maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, do they still exist? I don't know, but.
Yeah.
That's a much better word.
Okay. And how would others, I was thinking about this. Can we make a recommendation that this next committee, whatever it should be called, be appointed relatively soon and get to work? Because they're not going to meet weekly, obviously. I think that's obvious. I'm amazed that we all have been meeting weekly.
Yeah.
And there's a lot more to that work of that committee, and to really be ready for when the building is available, so that it's not, people have mentioned, it would be nice to not have it left vacant for too long. I mean, it will be vacant for a while any renovations that might be done. But the sooner that that is done and the town has voted on it, the sooner all that work can begin and it can be available. So if we recommend, I just wrote to myself here, I think they should be appointed really soon and begin their work in September.
Yep.
I agree.
No, I think that too. I think if we give them, you know, a sense of urgency, then I think that would help,
Yeah.
definitely.
And when Deb and Lori and I met, we were talking about possibly getting additional feedback through just like a table, like the comprehensive plan had at November elections. If that committee were established in September and had at least 1 or 2 meetings, that's an opportunity to help kind of share current thinking and ideas and just get some more feedback without actually having to do any more surveys necessarily, but.
Right.
And I had one more, if I may. We've mentioned a few times how important communication is going to be about all of this, both the ongoing process, but especially once we have a community center, that we have a community center and what is there.
Right.
So I just would recommend that that be something that that committee really keeps in mind.
Marketing and promotion, yeah.
Very good.
I just had a minor thing for, under community, we have age-friendly Raymond, this is on page 3. Age-friendly Raymond now is part of Parks and Rec, if I'm not mistaken.
Not officially.
Oh.
So it'll be,
Right.
if the warrant article passes, the part-time age-friendly coordinator will be under Parks and Rec
Okay.
come July 1st.
Thank you.
And I guess sorry. One other thought was, we had also mentioned at one point trying to be sure that the history of Jordan Small is somehow preserved. So is that maybe another recommendation for that next committee, so it's not lost?
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I did hear back from Frank McDermott, unless there's someone that knows something more. What he told me was there had been a one-room school building in East Raymond that was named for Mary Ellen Small, who was a teacher. And then in Ernie Nights, it seemed that there were several one-room schools throughout the town. But then in 1960, the Jordan Small School was built as a consolidated school. And Jordan, he didn't know the first name, was also a teacher. And both Mr. Jordan and Ms. Small gave money towards building that school, hence the name Jordan Small. So I would think Frank would know if anybody in town knows, and I'm thankful for that. He did say, or maybe I read it in Nerdy Nights, saying the town hall was the East Raymond School at one point. You're nodding, so I guess you knew that too. I didn't know that. Anyway. Yeah. But somehow to keep that, maybe there's a plaque or something, I don't know.
Thanks for finding that out. Thanks for finding that out, because I had no idea of the history of the naming of that school.
And do you think it would be appropriate for me to contact Frank and ask him to maybe give us a little write-up that we could include in our report?
If he wouldn't mind, yeah, sure, I think that would be great. I just don't want to lose that thread from
Yeah, I think
something that
that's
this
important
group.
to get it in writing and then make sure that we do pass it on. That is important.
So the Small, that's the school's named after, she's related to the Mrs. Small that.
I would imagine
Yeah, that
so.
donated the land sold the land.
RES.
For the RES, yeah, okay. I thought so,
Assuming
yeah.
so. He didn't say that, but I
Yeah,
imagine.
yeah.
Will you do that, or will?
I will do that, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Frank's my neighbor, so, and we see each other frequently.
Okay,
so.
great, thank you.
Oh, and Pete, I wanted to talk to you at the last meeting about the STEM teacher was willing to, within her class the next 2 years, build a wooden something to leave in Jordan Small. So, you know, how much we've loved all the artwork in the different buildings that we've been to. She offered to have the 7th and 8th grade students do something to leave I thought that was fabulous. So that's a STEM teacher, and then the art teacher is also wanting to put some artwork around, like patchwork quilt stuff and whatever. So I love having the two of them joining us, so.
Okay, so we can add that as a recommendation, so that doesn't get lost with the next committee?
Yeah, if
That
they're
they'll
willing to
follow
do
up
that, I'd love to see that
Okay,
happen.
and point of contact, should that be you or the STEM teacher?
It could be me, or the art or STEM teachers. They said they would take that up the next 2 years before they move out.
All right.
Should we be making any recommendations about the naming of the community center, or is that would be left up to another group?
I think we're a ways away from, yeah.
That's not really in our scope.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think it's a little too soon for that.
All right,
yeah.
I just want
I
to
mean,
make
I know that I
sure.
lean more towards community center than municipal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
so-
definitely.
But that's all
Okay.
I've got at this
I
point.
didn't know if that was something we should be putting in our recommendations.
All right.
So Peter, would you want to present this on the June 17th select board meeting or wait till July?
The June 17th, is that where they meet next?
Yeah.
If we can wrap it up by then, I'd say yes. So we're looking at next meeting being our last meeting. Is everybody comfortable with that? Because we talked about extending, but I think we're on track.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how far in advance Mel needs all the data that will be presented. It might be a full week.
At least 7 days, yeah. Try to
Yeah.
So maybe-
collect.
Yeah, I think it
that
might
for
be a
the-
July meeting, yeah.
Should make sense with new select board members as well.
Right. That'd be their first meeting as the new select board, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we want to hit them right off the bat with this? or-
I think we should overwhelm them as best we can.
While they're still
Well, the
bewildered?
last meeting is the day before the select board meeting.
Right.
So that, I mean, if there's anything that you wanted to wrap up, or wouldn't give you much time to do it before the meeting on the 17th.
Right.
Good point.
Right.
And if we need more time,
If we need to, then we'll have that available to us. So maybe we'll go the next.
July.
We'll try to go for that. When's the one after the 17th?
That would be July 8th.
And I might not be available, so I'll double check and find out.
Pete,
Okay.
I'm sorry, before can you go back to the floor plan at some point? I don't know if we wanted to maybe just put an asterisk next to some of the things, like one of the rooms was labeled as, it says, it's a typo, book sale sorting, like an asterisk, like potential use for some of the less priority types of
I
things?
think we're going to get into that in a little bit of
Okay,
detail
sorry.
here.
All right.
At least that's my intent, is that we'll get into that a little bit more detail. And
Okay.
that's a good way of maybe identifying them, yeah.
Thanks.
So, all right, I did update the Excel spreadsheet as far as the wish list. I didn't print myself off a new copy, but I basically have the old one. Did it agree with everybody as far as what we had discussed? Just wanted to make sure that I hadn't missed something.
me with the priorities.
Yeah.
I think you covered it very well.
I think we got it? Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay. I sent out an email with a spreadsheet that's called By the Numbers. I think that would be the next thing to get us started on thinking about how we want to do exactly what Grace was just talking about, and that is maybe consolidating some spaces or making them a suggestion, not necessarily something in stone. I mean, it was a good exercise for me to see just how the numbers played out for each of the different groups. And I guess I'll open it up to discussion as far as, what do people think? Where do we need to make some changes? Maybe one being we make sure we have adequate space for town hall.
Well, that's probably the step, because that's not in the current.
It's not in the current floor
Right, so I
plan,
think that's
but
the first
I would
thing.
like to include that.
Yeah, we have
At
to.
the, when I get a chance to revise that, or, create a new one. All right, well, I guess I'll just open it up as far as, the library's asking for a lot of space. What do you think, Deb?
I think that the reason it looks like a lot of space is because all of those different meeting rooms that can be broken up into whatever, multi-purpose use rooms,
Right.
probably will be under the scheduling or booking by the library. So it just made sense to group it all with the library. That was my thought process on that.
Okay.
If that's how it goes.
Right, and that's, I guess just, one of my thoughts is that I think somebody who hasn't been part of this committee that was to come in and look at these numbers would probably be like, so the library's going from 2,600 square feet to 13,000 square feet. That sounds like a lot. And I don't want to lose something because they don't understand our thought process.
Right. And so if you look at where the collections go and the program, some of the programming spaces, it's not a lot. Right now, they don't have enough space to do what they need to do. So they do need more space anyway. They probably need double or triple what they have.
Oh, yeah.
But then we have the book sale space, which I believe is happening in a shed right now. So that's not.
No, it's in
very
the
good.
building. It's in the building, the book sales space.
Where they sort the books and store them?
No, we have a whole couple cabinets full of books for sale in the space.
Oh, I thought
It's
I
just
was told it
extras.
was-
No, the book sales takes place right in the
'cause
library.
I know
Yeah.
that's not optimum for that, to be in the library, taking up space that could be used
Oh,
for
yeah,
other things.
absolutely, but it's in the library now. It's not
okay.
out in the bookshop. That's just for storage and stuff, yeah.
So, and then, if you want some dedicated spaces for digital classes, or for people to do work, or have private group meetings, or video conferencing, and things like that. All those different spaces will take space, but, those rooms can be carved up into spaces, but they'll probably be under the aegis of the library as far as who administers that space. So that's why, it doesn't mean it can't be used by anybody, but it just made sense that somebody's got to schedule it.
Richard and I did talk briefly about how there's a lot of overlap between Parks and Rec and library. So some of those functions might be both.
Right.
And
shared space.
And when talking to Richard, we do, like, Parks and Rec already has a reservation scheduling aspect, so it's as simple as if
Everyone has access to it.
right, if Richard or a coordinator wants to put in time, it's in there, kind of scheduling internally. So there might be a lot, maybe in some of those spaces, maybe a different color of multi-use or multi-departmental use might be visually better to present,
Yeah,
is
or-
my suggestion.
Or just call it shared space. Sue just said
Yep.
shared
Right.
space.
Yep.
Right.
But
And maybe
it's
that's,
not even just those two, really. It's,
Yeah, right.
right. And maybe that's what we should do going forward, is instead of designated, this is Park and Rec, this is library, not have designated colors for different departments, but just say, these are our recommendations for these spaces. And just label them, whatever the
Right.
name of that space becomes as part of our recommendation.
Because it'll take time to build some of these programs we're talking about. I mean, it's going to take a while.
Yeah.
So we
talked
don't want
about that,
space
so-
empty for, until, I mean, it's just,
Right.
it's going to take a while.
Right, but certain spaces will need certain interior designs. So like if you're going to have one room cut into two rooms for video conferencing, privacy for telehealth, or somebody wants to do a job interview virtually or something like that, those spaces are going to have to be set up for that, those types of purposes.
Right. I mean, similarly, I think like the one that stands out for me is the senior space that they had at Westbrook. I mean, that was their designated space, and they had it set up for their use, and they, used it regularly. It looked like. So,
I
okay.
think, sorry.
Yeah.
I think too that it's really up to the town as how it wants to split its budget. So that will define who owns any registration system or rooms themselves. There will be rents associated with that for your budget, and manpower probably is the biggest piece. But that's not us.
Right.
So I think the suggestion that we label like anyone can own this as a multi-use space, that will drive activity down the road.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
We'll figure out the operational piece of it as we go forward.
And it's all under the town, all these,
Right.
the three, they're all.
So if we've got a wish list and everything, so one of these multipurpose rooms could be a senior space, because I would really like to kind of have a senior space, because if we do, we can have more activities, but we wouldn't have probably something every day.
Right, so it'll be scheduled, and so it's not always, just sits empty until, until you schedule to use. It's going to be a but you would have a schedule that's set, and then that's your space for that time period.
So a nice senior room would be.
Yeah, right, and that senior, they could do a lot of stuff in there, yeah.
Build it, they will come.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I think because of the need, we might want to actually label that space senior space.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
That's just, we're talking about wishes, and I just think that's really something for an aging community to have a go-to, and it could grow. I mean, that is my hope.
A couple, a Saturday or so ago, I had the opportunity to spend the day at the Hawthorne House at a yard. They had a yard sale, and I am totally impressed on the building, how beautiful it is. And I mean, we haven't talked much about what they're doing there, but it's, they rent it out for events mostly. I heard talk about like a community center, but it really is an event center. It seems, they're going to have a cabaret night. They have music, jazz. They had an art show last year. They even had a wedding there. And they got the kitchens all finished now, and a nice bathroom, and it's beautiful. It's really nice. So that is really something for this town to think about with, that space. And not that the town would do anything with it, but it belongs to the community. But it is a community center of sorts that is available in this town. And it's lovely in there. It really is. They've done a lot of hard work.
I mean, some things that were written into the proposal may not be on the wish list because they were written in over here. So like art exhibit space. We kind of worked it into our ideas, brainstorming here for the library, but there's nothing, I think, in the wish list about public art exhibit space. So I'm not sure if we should go back and forth and make sure that something appears either in both or at least in one master list, or just so it doesn't fall through the cracks.
Yeah, we can do that for sure.
I mean, I don't know if book sale space was in the wish list, but we included it in the library proposal because we know that's a usual function that happens under the library. And I'm sure Joe and Richard they're gonna discuss and figure out what's gonna be good ways to coordinate the space and use it.
Okay. So I think we kind of have answered this question, but the next item I had was, do we want to include the town hall office with the community center? Do we have a
Do we want to what?
include the town offices into the Jordan Small Middle School.
Well, I've certainly expressed my desire to do that. I mean, I think I've been pretty vocal about that, that I felt that was
Yeah.
important. May not happen or whatever, but if we're looking at the next 10 to 15 years, if we don't put the town hall in there, I think 15 years, it's going to be, the people will be looking at building another building, which I don't know if people, if we can fit it all in here.
Right.
And everybody just works together to use the space. I mean, that's my feeling about it.
I think when we consider the size of Raymond as far as population and whatnot compared to some of these other towns that we visited, that it seems like we should have more than enough space at Jordan Small Middle School to include that plus Parks and Rec and library
Absolutely,
and
I think
community
so.
center.
Yeah, I think so.
Is there anybody opposed to making sure we include the town hall?
I'm not opposed. I just think it's important that we remember that so much work is going to be done after this committee with needs assessments, architects. It's going to be very in-depth in evaluating all buildings and needs. I mean, I think we supply the wish list, and that's all we can do.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
No, that's a good remark.
I mean, fitting it in is not going to, we have the wish list that this is what we feel, that the town, for that space, but it's going to be up to the architects and the engineers to, the feasibility of that and how everything fits.
Okay.
And I think my only hesitation on it was seeing all these other things that we've kind of penciled in potentially, and is there enough room to do it justice for what it needs? But I asked at one point, is there any part of town office that would stay in that building and the rest be here? And that didn't make any sense. They need to all be in one space. That's very clear. So now I'm thinking, is there anything we've kind of penciled in here that could potentially go in that space so that there's definitely enough room for the town office needs here? Is there anything that kind of is on its own that doesn't need to be all together? I don't know. I'm just asking the question. I really can't see myself.
I don't think we have to decide that now. I think we
No, I know, we're not
provide
deciding.
a wish list and then see.
Right, but just as a recommendation.
Yeah, of ideas of when they look at it, they see the whole picture. I don't think we have to, worry about where other places that could go. You don't know how it will develop. It will develop, and there's the list of
Just
things.
thinking ahead, if this next committee is doing all of the detail work Kayla just talked about and says, not all this stuff is going to fit there, and so there's some things on that wish list that are really more than just a pie in the sky kind of a wish, I would hope that they would consider then, but this could then be in this space, whether it's the library space or the town office space or something, so that really we're trying to, because these were all things that we identified as would be really nice to have, that we thought the community would like and use. Just raising it as a possibility.
Oh, that's good, thank you. I think we've also answered this next question. So, do we want the Jordan Small buildings to be the place for the community space, parks and recreation, and the library? I think that's pretty much decided at this point. And for our recommendations, even though I did cobble something together for that piece, I want the committee's input. Does our committee recommend using the current library as the new food pantry and thrift shop and
It's an idea. Yeah, it's an idea.
It's a good as an idea?
Yeah,
Right. We've said a couple of times, right? They're going to do what they want.
Yeah.
And hopefully they'll take our thoughts into consideration. I'm sure they will. But yeah, they're going to make it work.
Yeah.
Basically. Okay.
I mean, it is a good space for that, so, for sure.
Seems like it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or is it that, or the town office?
What?
Is it necessarily, definitely recommend the library be used for that? Or recommend either the library or the town offices be used for that. I mean, it's really kind of depends.
Oh, the town of,
Say.
yeah, we talked about it, though, being down on Main Street, and
That's true.
that was one of the things, people could walk to it.
Next to the community garden.
Yeah, near the community
That's
garden, which we really, which donates fund, yeah, so that, I think we brought that up, so.
Yeah.
it'd be a
So what
better
was the
space.
problem with the town hall? Is it basically they're running out of space?
Yep.
Or the
Yes.
building is not great?
It's both, it's both, yeah.
So would it be suitable for
We don't know.
to transfer?
We don't know what it's going to be soon. You know, I think that'll be something that'll come. I don't know. I mean, I don't think we have to.
Yeah,
It'll be a
just curious.
building, so it's certainly not big enough for town hall right now.
Be a one-room school again.
Well, that's what I was wondering. It's a nice little
It could be.
house,
Maybe
yeah.
there is a daycare there or something. Who knows? But
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Right,
That
they
would
might
be-
go in that direction.
Yeah, that's a good. That's a thought. Yeah, for sure. You have to
Okay.
up your rates. They heat the place.
And a playground.
Yeah,
A
right.
playground out there.
That's right.
So, for the next thing, Laura, you had planned on walking us through a exercise at our last meeting to maybe help identify more, define the spaces, I guess.
Well, you had the colored pencils idea, and then I was concerned that we would be crossing out and marking things up. So I have just some color-coded things that can either represent use, like who would use this space, or manage the space, or this is my opinion, so I take all the yellows. Just to lay out what we see and where there are commonalities to how we think we should use the or could use the space. It's
Right.
just an idea, because Post-it notes are easy to move.
Right.
You know, if we find that most of us are completely in favor of a gym class near the library, then, you know, that would be different than what we've looked at before. But I think we need to bring our own individual biases into this, because we're here because we want to be here. So we have ideas, and we have perspective too.
Yeah. No, I think that's great. So why don't we head in that direction and start looking at this?
Do you want to have colors or use? Do you want each person have a color for, or
okay.
name it? I don't know.
Whatever works for you.
Yeah.
I don't know what works best.
Chairs aren't the best.
It's very return.
I come up Bittersweet and then turn left onto Harvest Hills. I used to get lost out there all the time. I finally figured it out.
Keep going. Yeah, it's incredible.
Crazy. But you know, I was telling him that the whole road that ends up in the pieces, that's private. That's like, oh my God. How do you go up through Colonial? Is that how you go up?
I don't know the best way to do this, quite honestly. You have to turn these on, right?
No, the mic is on. Just need to hold it.
Whoever's going to be speaking, actually grab the mic and talk into the mic so that it can be heard.
Really got all the colors, didn't you? Tell us what you want us to do. I don't know what would work best, what would be least confusing. I think our job is to not determine whether that meeting space is library or age-friendly is Parks and Rec. So I think possibly we could each be responsible for a color and then write what group it goes with, if you know what I'm saying. So if I
Yeah, I need an example.
so sure.
So, and maybe we can speed this up a little bit, in that if we go and look at like gym, we know that the gym's gonna stay the gym. So unless somebody has, you know, a comment that I can't even think of, I would think that some of these things we're maybe as a group are okay with.
I think you should leave the kitchen area, and then, like you said, the gym. Move the kitchen somewhere else, or move that, that's an undertaking and a half.
This entire area
is
It's done.
as is.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's nothing you're gonna do with that.
And the other thing is, I'm not opposed to or afraid to mark this up. If somebody wants to write on this, by all means, please do, because I have another copy of this, and I can make a final version if need be.
So,
I may have missed this, but why do we have a fitness room and a gym?
Ask Joe.
What happened?
You're being called out, Joe.
Oh, no.
I guess.
Why is there a fitness room and
Joe.
gym here?
Is that the microphone that you had?
No, Nate had that one.
I think you put that on mute.
This one's live, though? This one's
Yes.
hot.
So I think
So
it's
the-
this room and this room.
So the reason why, this would
Oh,
be,
no, is it this room, Kayla?
That's a-
In this room, or?
Well, I see fitness room,
okay, so
Right.
that's,
and then I see a gym.
so that's storage. So the fitness studio would be more of the wood floor with like the mirrors, and you have kind of more of like the jazzercise, Zumba, yoga, Pilates. It's a open space studio. Then this would be a fitness gym where like it has equipment, weights, treadmills,
Who would you
bikes.
envision using that?
I don't know. It was in the survey, and it got pretty popular. People wanted a fitness gym. The reason why I put it over here too is because you could have a check-in fob access here instead of intern, where there'd be more of the recreational leisure type stuff. So
you've already got the colors here, so let's use them.
I worry a little bit about the gym being right where the public would come in and do their business, to register
Yeah,
their cars and
for
stuff.
sure.
I mean, will this get noisy, like loud music and?
if you have Arnold Schwarzenegger in there, yeah,
Yeah.
you could be pumping weight. Yeah, right.
I don't know.
No, I think there's definitely room to move it. There's also the possibility of building out back here too. So it could be phased in for much later if there's time, or if we have the resources.
Yeah,
Just off the top of the head, that
Yeah.
was.
Because we hadn't penciled in anything for town hall yet, right?
Right.
But we were
This-
kind of thinking
This
this
seems like a
end of
good
it.
block for town hall.
Yeah.
I was actually, this is just my opinion, I was thinking that the town offices should be the most accessible in terms of the number of people that use it. Here we would have, yes, but that's so perfect for the library.
I know. This was what I kind of thought would be the perfect spot for the town office. You can open this all up relatively easy, and it's easy access here. But you're gonna take the library too. It's-
Yeah, because they need the biggest open space outside of the gym, which. And these rooms can be divided.
These are stairs,
these
though,
are-
if I recall.
Correct.
Yeah.
Everything, all the entrances here are ADA. They've got ramps coming up.
Okay. I was
And
thinking,
if you were gonna do a build-out, that would all be incorporated in that anyway.
This, where's here, this is the library, right?
The large
The large-
community and
and-
the TV studio.
Which is the
Broadcast.
current library in the
Yes.
school. So this is not accessible in this.
So
way.
you
It's
Yeah,
have
gotta come
to, you
down
have
around
to
there.
use the ramp and go all the way
Right.
down. to
or
Corral.
come in this way.
Yeah.
And you know the building better than most of us, Nathan. Could we conceivably, if we wanted to spend the money, close this and make this inside space?
I think anything's possible. I would think that that's gonna be an undertaking.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that
The
has,
windows, the daylight.
I don't know if that has a walkway though.
There is a walkway up, where's the portable classrooms? Right here, so there is a walkway that comes up into this area here, because you can enter the building here.
Oh, that's right.
There's a walk that goes all
That's
the
where
way
the
down.
playground is, right?
Correct. No,
No,
Oh, that's back
right
here.
there.
this is a vestibule, this is kind of a, it's not ADA, but there is a path over there.
Okay, let's take the things we know. You already had a color code identified here.
Okay.
So technology, I think we all agree that space makes the most sense for Kevin's
Yeah.
equipment and the town meetings and that sort of thing.
And then this is a technology space, can be a technology space.
So technology space is different from the control room, right?
Well, are we talking about any kind of technology space that's going to need
So I
Wi-Fi
interpret
and
this,
hubs and all that?
I interpret this as being the second half of this building.
Correct.
Right, the
that's what it
servers
is.
and,
Yeah.
yes.
Right.
Yeah.
I'd like us to consider if, I'm sorry, I don't remember how much space this is altogether. Who's quick?
It's a lot. So you've got, each one of these is over 800.
Yeah, 4 times 8,
So you've
So
got
that would-
almost,
3,200.
35.
That would give them
500
more than the
4,000
town
square feet.
office has today.
yeah, it'd be close. Yeah, just
So-
over. Because this space here is 4,500
Oh.
square feet. And they have 3,500 currently.
At the town hall, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't want to separate this from the library too far away, because if people need assistance using the technology, they're going to be wanting the library staff to help them. So you want to make sure that they can quickly get down there.
I think Kevin did some digging around, and I think he went with that space right there because of the
Yeah.
ease of ability to get
Right
it.
next to.
He also said, I think across the hall
Yeah,
would be
and I
okay.
asked him, because I challenged him on that. I was like, why can't it be across? And he said, well, it could be. Just as long as it's very close.
Right.
So if we want to ensure a way for the town to have enough space, perhaps something like all of this, I don't know if that's enough yet,
Yeah.
because we don't know what they actually need. And we'll grow into.
Personally, if I'm looking at this, way too much room for all these things.
I agree.
Well, that's true.
Like-
These rooms
like
are
these
large. and
Like a remote workspace for that is almost, I mean, that's a lot just for that thing. So, I mean, when you look at how this has been set up, I think that's very hard for us to sit here and say, well, this could go here and that could go there. Because ultimately, maybe 5 things could go there and 2 things can go there. I mean, there's so much more that can be done here. And I think this is actually extremely limiting. That's just my
I think that
take
some
on it.
things speak for themselves, like the library space, I had wanted it down here, but just looking at the way it's configured right now, for the way a library should be, open and everything, to me, that makes sense. As library is purple, and you need more space. So a staff workroom, actually, if there's a way we
Right,
could kind of lock in that
'Cause that will-
quadrant.
Well, that's why I put the door there, because if there's community things happening, you want to make sure you can lock your library off so people can't get down in there. They can get as far as the restrooms, but they can't get into the main part of the library.
Right.
And these are easily locked just themselves, so.
So this is something that we've talked about maybe going in another building entirely,
Mhm.
right? Down the library. So if that were whatever you're putting in here, again, given that there's, as Kayla just said, that can be divided up for various things, it's still close to the library, and that leaves that for town hall space as needed. And maybe this is
Does anybody know what the
library.
Library of Things is at a supply kind of?
Library of Things is a collection of objects that can be lent out. Sports equipment, could be cooking equipment, could be power tools, could be, things like that. Instead of lending books and videos, lending small appliances, things like
Or
that.
medical things as well.
Certainly,
Yeah.
can. That's why we put that with that, because it's
Yeah,
things.
because the medical closet
Crutches and.
has a whole house of its own down at Wyndham.
Mhm.
So I don't know if half of a.
Maybe some of those
Decent, I
items
don't
can come up here, so it's closer to where they might be needed.
I'm just
'Cause I
wondering,
don't-
space-wise, if half a room is enough. Like, I know that's the art room.
If we're recommending that library, when vacated, is the food pantry, could that also be the medical closet, library of things,
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
depending upon
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, it could be, yeah,
And
absolutely.
again, I think someone else was saying that this is definitely something that could go in another building,
Yeah.
it seems like the town hall or whatever.
It depends who's going to be administering it. If
Yep.
the library has to catalog and sign these things out, it should stay close to the library.
We don't have this now, right?
Right.
So it
No,
would be,
you
and it's
don't have
likely
this
would be
now.
volunteer
Right.
run.
No, it
or
would just be
used in
part of
Great
the
Park.
library. It's just another collection.
Well, you're talking about, yeah, you're talking about the library of things,
Right.
and then there's the loan closet, 2 separate
Okay.
things. Volunteers do the loan closet in Wyndham.
Okay.
And it's fine, it works out, and that's, and I, So,
So that would fit with like the food pantry, the thrift
Right,
shop,
it could,
maybe that
it
would
could.
fit in with that
Depending on how-
kind of
how-
services?
depending
Or
on
with general
who's-
assistance.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so it depends on who's down there, who's volunteering, and the fellow that does the food pantry now, is he available more days? No, he's not.
Well, he does the work more days, but he only opens the pantry
Yeah.
for 3 hours.
But he would be available to open the pantry more, or no?
As a volunteer, I
Yeah.
can't speak for that.
Yeah, right, so, right.
I can't speak for that. And also for here, we need to provide space for the emergency meetings, the private sessions. The
executive sessions.
Executive sessions, so I don't know if we can use this space over here for that.
That's
That's a closet, I
That's a
think.
closet.
Yeah.
You
That
could,
has a-
But in the evenings, you were going to have these spaces
correct.
not being used, most likely. Because it's after hours, library staff's gone home, nobody's around to let people in.
Just to make sure I can
So an
answer the
executive
like,
session could be,
That's like a meeting room. I mean, obviously, then it makes sense
Yeah.
right across. You could just meet right in there for executive sessions.
Well, again, if this is all town hall, and that's divvied up for various offices, but you do have a need for, you have at least a small conference kind of a space. So that's another need of the town hall. So again, if this is, if that's library and this is kind of town hall, I don't know.
She
There's
made a
an
good
office space
point.
to meet for exec session.
When they have Board of Selectmen's meetings, it's usually 6 or 7 o'clock at night. None of the stuff's going to be occupied, and they've got plenty of room where you could dual purpose, that kind of thing.
Yeah, you
I
don't
would
need
think,
a
for a meeting.
specialized, yeah, right.
Yeah,
because
that would
these
be,
are all, I mean, these can be meeting rooms for different types of meeting spaces. Part of this could be for video conferencing. Part of this could be for small group meetings, or, student work rooms or something.
What I'm hearing is that we probably ought to take these spaces at least, and this one, and make them part of our wish list, and not necessarily label them, because we don't want to limit ourselves or the next committee. So, we can then prioritize them as part of our wish list, and let the next committee figure out how to make those spaces the right size for that activity.
Right.
Because it's not only what activities you offer, it's where those activities go and should be or should not be next to another type of activity.
Right,
Right.
but that will take the detail of the next
I
group
think that's beyond our
figuring that
scope
out.
at this
Yeah.
point.
Yes.
Although
Figure that
we
out.
need to keep in mind things like children's safety, having, like Westbrook had that whole separate, the whole center of the building
And
was
noise.
locked off. And
Toys.
Kayla had a good point. This is all going to be, I wouldn't call it a mute thing, but they're going to put this in front of an
But you would.
architect.
Oh, yeah.
And they're going to.
I don't want us to get too down into the weeds on it.
I don't know the
I
best
think
flow.
it is amazing that the work that has been
Right.
put into this and the attention to detail and the effort, but at the end of the day, it literally does mean nothing.
Right.
And I think that's important for us all to recognize, and I think it's wonderful how much work has been put into this committee. I think it's great. And it again shows just the strong volunteers that we have in this community, and I'm very proud of all of this stuff that's been put together. But again, it's going to and we also the big elephant, which we were told not to talk about, is the cost.
Yeah.
So there's way more than just what's feasible. What can we do? It's going to come down to the dollar sign.
Yeah, it might be
So
a good
there's-
flow, and then all of a sudden, you put
I
a number,
mean,
it's like, we got to change this.
Exactly. So I just think putting together the wish list and saying, hey, we conceptualized this and we thought this would work really well. I mean, that's wonderful. But again, at the end of the day, it's probably all going to be rewritten, relooked at,
So
and
let's
overhauled.
build 4 quadrants then. This is Parks and Rec, and this is the library, and this
You
is
got town
hall.
Down here.
And then you have
Absolutely,
remaining community space or
Right.
something.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's right.
Yeah, perfect.
TBD.
That'll give them something
Yeah.
to fall back, and at least they
What?
can see what we're
Determined.
thinking.
Yes.
How to group them, yeah. Oh, I
Yeah.
thought we were saying town there, though. No?
Oh, I did.
I would
okay.
put town here,
Good,
just
good,
personally.
okay.
Yeah.
Parks and Rec-y, right, over
And
here, because
community. How
this is also
That's
really
turnkey right
community.
there,
I mean, this is can be used for lots of people.
right. And the
so can the kitchen.
cafeteria, the
And
cafeteria.
so this is still kind of community space here. Even though it involves Parks and Rec's activity, it's still community space. And then,
Well, it's
'cause
kind of
you
green
don't-
and yellow, green
This
and
is a lot for a lot of space just for those three things. And we already know that the town hall can fit in there as it is now.
Right. So it'd be more or less like,
Aren't they needing more space, though?
We
That's
don't, we
the whole
don't,
point.
I mean,
we
but
don't
again,
know if they're
that's-
laid out in the optimal way. We know that it's been
There's a
moved
lot of
around
business.
as
Yeah,
you've
we've
had
cut
to.
and chopped, and there's offices.
There's a lot
that
more
could be
functional space
correct,
in this than,
correct.
we have a
Those
lot
rooms
of
are-
dead space.
And those rooms are big. When we walked around, I mean, they're pretty large rooms.
oh, yeah.
They are.
So,
Okay.
And I think this way too, for public access, we would have this
There,
way and this
there.
way.
Yeah.
And then for the library, should we decide to do the same thing, this way and this way?
yes, right, yeah.
Talking about maybe this becoming not the bus turnaround, but a parking lot.
Right.
That'd be nice looking in, right? Come off the road, you have the front main entrance and parking. Makes sense.
All right. So just so I'm clear, so we've got Parks and Rec is this quadrant here plus our community space. Library is here. Do we cut library off here? Or do we include this space?
We leave it as is.
Yeah.
Just with the colors,
See what
because
they
they'll
do.
figure out
Yeah.
the, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to put this as community center here, because that's the teen, where you had talked about some kids' space?
That's, rec wanted that, right?
Well,
It was an
To
option.
lead some activities and.
Yeah, this is coordinated between Parks and Rec and library, right, basically?
Yeah, I think we
Yeah.
had like in here, could be kind of,
Right, because
This-
this is like the family children's bathroom in there.
Or the teen center
And
could
then
be
the-
in that basement. No, just.
That's right, with padded walls, right?
Is it soundproof? So, and the children's programming is gonna need storage for their crafts and their, all of their materials that go with that.
Good.
I mean, almost everything. Yeah, so technology, I guess, is really,
Well, you can have public computing space in here.
you're anticipating having that in the library already, aren't you?
I think Richard would like to have a couple of things here, but if you want to have enough for people to come in and do long-term project work, or, like our seasonal visitors come in and they may want to do some work on their vacation or during the summer, they're going to need space that they know they can get into, sit down, either bring a device or sit down at a device. Maybe there's going to even be a few like lockers that they can store their projects in. I mean, it's open for what we want, what we need. I see it's happening at a lot of libraries, and it's being very, very successful. That people can come in and do work at the library that they can't do well at home. Or they travel, they're on the road, or they have home-based business or whatever. Or they're hybrid workers.
You want to make sure you get your director's space.
Although I'll argue 12 by 17 is a lot for
that's a
an
whole,
office.
yeah. We can just run
After
around
sharing an office with him, he needs
that. It's all basketball.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
had
no,
like a
that's
corner
all.
right here, and he hit this much.
Depends on what
A
season,
lot
you
of
know?
stuff that
Yeah.
goes with rec and
They put the ball bag somewhere,
There's times I didn't think I could get out.
build around you.
Kayla, thank you for bringing that up. I think we were getting into the weeds.
I mean, it's
for
hard
no
not to,
reason,
right?
yeah.
I mean, it's hard not to, but I
fun.
think, and I'm probably been seeming like a little stickler here, but I keep bringing up, we don't really, what's our mission again? What, trying to bring it back to say, well, what's our mission and what is the reality of it? And I think, unfortunately, that is the reality, that it could very much look like this. And it could very much not.
Could look very different.
But that's going to come out of a lot of extra, a lot of work done by professionals.
right, but this
who
helps.
who are really looking at needs, the space, the cost.
Right, but this is like placeholders. It's like, this makes sure that certain activities or services or programs aren't getting forgotten, so we're kind of like slotting them in, just so we can show that it can work.
And I see that as partly the function of our wish list and setting priorities to that,
right.
that we're going to pass that information on to them to then digest and,
Right.
and make room for.
But it makes sense of general priorities now, like you're.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Kinda seeing
people,
that.
people need to see something so that they'll say, yes, let's spend money for an architect or
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
some sort of design.
They take one look at this and say,
Something.
yes, let's get an architect.
And we're committed to these three groups being in here. I mean, that's, I think, the takeaway
That's
for
coming
me.
out loud and clear.
Is, you know, really, and so then the job is to how everybody has to work together to modify their wishes and needs so that everybody has the space they really need. So that's.
I think this is important to do this exercise.
Mm.
And when it comes time to go to the architect, people need to hold their ground a little bit to make sure that we get what we envision we need.
That's a good point,
And,
too.
'cause if you handed this blank slate to an architect and an engineer, we're gonna be, and again, like Kayla said, the elephant in the room, we're gonna be 10, 15, $20 million. We're gonna go by and the place is gonna be all flat, and they're gonna be building a brand new building. So,
Well, no, I mean,
you gotta keep a thumb
I
on
think
it.
there, you know, when it comes down to it, and you're really looking at price tag and reality, the layout and the bones of the building is not going to change that much because it's just going to cost too much to do that. So what's going to end up coming out of it is what is the best way to use the space largely as it is right now.
Right, that's right, and fit
And
these
that's
things.
that. I
That's
mean,
right.
that's the reality, and
That's right.
it's not going to get overhauled, and
For
it's
the-
not going to be
No,
torn down and rebuilt.
we're not tearing walls down
No,
and stuff.
I mean, it's
no.
going to be, we may add some walls, but,
Mm, but
or
not-
something, but, I mean,
Right.
we
can tear
I just
some
think
walls, we can add some
in
walls.
reality, when you
saw
look at
that-
the cost,
Yes.
that's what you're looking at.
It's like in Gorham what they did. I mean, they didn't do much with the structure. The structure was there. And they
Then they
used that
did pieces
structure.
at a
Yeah.
time.
And they put,
That's how
and
you
they
keep
put
the
those
price tag
open,
down.
and they put those open office spaces in those big rooms, you know.
It's going to have
cubicles.
cubicles
right.
and partitions as
Yes.
opposed to, you know,
Walls,
brick and
right.
mortar.
That's
Yeah.
right.
But for the architect, they're gonna say form follows function. So they need to know what kinds of activities and spaces we want in our building, and then they're gonna bring their design knowledge to, oh, you wanna do that there, so you're gonna need to have this, like that,
Yeah, that's right.
so.
So, just a question, this multi-purpose shared space as it's labeled right now, is that still something that I think, maybe it was, I think I mentioned, keeping some space kind of in reserve, flexible for things we didn't yet think of, identify maybe something that does bring in revenue of some type at some point? Is that kind of possible there too? In other words,
yeah.
it's not like, these are the things we want, and so if you have extra space, just make these things bigger, as opposed to reserve some space for what we
That's
haven't
important,
yet
yeah.
anticipated.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
That's very
All right.
good.
for growth, yeah.
And it's always seeing what works and
Yeah.
what doesn't, and I think allowing that space to
Keeping
be
some
developed.
flexibility.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, it seems like the direction we're headed, that a lot of this space here will be available for community center
Some
type
flex-
development.
Yeah, okay. Thanks for the post-it.
Yeah,
You
that
have
worked out well.
quite a collection
Anybody
there, I'm
wants
amazed.
So,
Staples says.
just so I'm clear, I want to, we're going to leave this as is and use this to give a visual to the next committee. Okay?
That's great.
All right.
Why not?
Sounds
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Awesome. Just drop the mic.
You just leave mics there, that's fine.
The voices in our head.
Are you going to take my kids home? Yeah.
Just like that.
Yeah.
Either that or
See
they
that?
recorded it.
No, I said, take my kids home. He's like, okay.
Give Derek a job.
Yeah.
We told them to watch out for strings.
That's a good point. We'll wait till-
No, I should let them.
Stranger danger.
Apparently not.
No, didn't work.
Stay or don't? Sorry, Lori. We got this. Yeah, she got in before, so she can. Do it again.
Get down to test.
Have I?
Yeah.
No,
I thought of you.
For the speakers.
Except for what?
Thank you, Lloyd.
Screen door that.
Okay.
Appreciate that.
I think that was,
Is that something there?
That was definitely worth
No,
it.
that was great.
Exercise. Yeah. I think we're all ready for that.
Yeah, we'll have it done.
with the caveat there.
All right. I did forget to mention at the beginning of the meeting that we do have the select board coming in right behind us. They have a special meeting tonight. But we're, by no means does that, I mean, we have to rush to get through our meeting. They said right up to 35 minutes to transition and they're good, so. But with that, we are at the point of all the agenda items that I had listed, and I don't see any community to public comment. So I'm going to go right to committee's comment and let us maybe wrap up what we were just talking about, which was really good discussion. I appreciate that, everybody. Maybe some final thoughts on recommendations.
Question, should we be making a recommendation about the portable, where we say we recommend we bring the TV studio into that large community space, and then the portable could be removed, or?
I think it's a given that the
It's a given,
portable
just a
Yeah.
given, it's
Yeah.
gonna come
Right.
down.
But we
Okay.
might as well make it clear, just that that's
Yeah,
our
I think-
Because
recommendation.
that's part of our thinking process.
Well, we'll need more parking everywhere.
Yes,
If
yeah.
all of this activity is coming to this building.
Yeah, and
That's
that's a very good idea to mention too. Like recommendations to, add additional spaces in front maybe, or
This-
on that side.
This building, though, I think is going to get torn down, right?
I hope so.
Well, you said it had already outlived its.
It's sitting on cement blocks and
Yeah.
moving. It's had a good purpose. It's had a good run. I think it's time for it to go away.
This is my daughter's 4th grade class here. This room, God.
I think I actually went to school in the town office edition when they were out there.
Pete, if committee comment can be on things that aren't directly about the committee, then I have a comment.
Sure.
Okay. I did just want to mention, we've been talking a lot about the library being in this space, and I just wanted to say that the current library offered a great evening with an author, had the books that people could pick up. They got them for free from a donation, and just, it really was making me feel really good about the potential of what we're looking at here for the library being expanded. There's a lot more that can be done there. It was a really good event. And they've got the plant sale, I think Sue already mentioned that, coming up on Saturday.
Plant sale Saturday.
Yep, and I also want to remind people to be sure they are coming out to vote on June 10th and hopefully supporting the school budget. So, got to put that plug in wherever I go. Okay.
Thanks, because that brings up a good point, because some of those shared spaces or multi-use spaces there that we just talked about, the library will need some of those kinds of meeting spaces to hold crafts and book discussion groups and things like that, because right now, it's just right out in the main floor of the library.
Yep.
So it's very distracting to anybody who's trying to do anything else, especially quiet work. So libraries need quiet space, and they also need conversational learning space.
Right. Anybody else? Thoughts for next meeting? Do we want to, are we at a point where we want to more or less try to wrap things up next meeting?
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
I guess any last thoughts can be communicated to me between now and then. And in addition, I'll try to polish the summary report a little more and get that out to everybody for review, and then, please feel free to communicate back to me things that I need to add or whatever.
Yeah, you made a great start with it. I mean, what you've already done is.
I did already make one edit myself. I missed our first meeting, April 14th, so that is now in there. All right, well,
All right.
do I have a motion to adjourn? Are we ready?
So moved.
Yeah.
Second? All in favor?
Good evening and welcome to the Select Board special meeting, please. There we go. I'm going to be running the meeting since Rolf is still up in Augusta right now. So everybody is here. And can I have approval of the minutes for May 12th?
Make the motion to accept the minutes as written.
Second?
Any discussion? All in favor? Okay. A motion for May 13th minutes?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Sure
Okay.
mind.
Okay, and May 19th meeting minutes?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? And Rolf's up. All right, new business, approving the comprehensive plan to move forward. Joe, Rolf, do you guys want to take this? The corrections, I do know, Joe, you were in contact with North Star?
Yes, the clean copy with the edits was made and posted on the comprehensive plans website. So that is complete, and so that now the next steps would be to hold a special public town meeting to get that voted in.
You should speak into the microphone a little bit more. Yeah.
So yes, I believe Rolf, did Melanie send you that template of the time frame for this?
I mean, essentially what will have to happen is you'll set a date will get set for the special town meeting, and then backdated from that date will be the public hearing. So there will be a public hearing, and then after the public hearing, then there would be the special town meeting to do the final approval.
All right. Are you guys okay with all that?
Yeah.
Can I have a motion to approve?
I'm just curious, though, before we move on.
Yeah.
30 days between each thing, between the public meeting and then another 30 days before we have the vote at a special town meeting?
It'd be a public hearing and then 30 days for the special town meeting for vote. Yep.
Peter?
Peter Levitt, 2 Levitt Road. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ralph, but I believe it's 30 days from the time that the clean copy was posted, which I'm not sure when that was, but I believe it was sometime around Friday. Then that clean copy needs to be available to the community to review for 30 days prior to the public hearing. Am I wrong there?
No, that would be correct. The other requirement is the public hearing has to be a minimum of 10 days prior. The public hearing has to be a minimum of 10 days prior to the special town meeting. So, so you've got a couple different things. So, as I say, once you establish the date for the special town meeting, that's going to necessitate what the date of the, what's the latest date that public hearing can be.
That's my understanding as well, Ralph. So that's the timing, if you were asking the question, Dennis.
And so when you say public, does that mean there has to be written copies for the public at town hall for them to pick up, or just the posting on the webpage?
No, I would think that you would
Just
have
posting.
copy available in the town hall as well.